It is Masters Championship crit day, and I decided to go ahead and race. Whatever was bugging me, dragging me down last week, is filtering out. And that's good, because I just didn't feel like doing much of anything. Now, I was on the bike twice last week, and that included yesterday's leg openers, so I didn't have a lot of training in my legs like I wanted to have coming into this championship race. But that may not matter because of the competition I have, and I'll be talking about that in a bit. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek.
Number 260. No, on here. They take my Roblox character. It's cool. That's all you look like. Is that a redhead? What has been going on? Are you pre-registered?
Yes.
They can help you over here.
So I got my number. It's I have about an hour and 15 minutes before my race, a lot of time. So I went up to the registrar. When I got there, she said, "Can you race down in age?" And I'm thinking, man, I can't look that old. Yep. You may be asking yourself, if I was having such a hard time last week, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to go to the race today, and it all depended on how I felt when I got up, why am I attacking from the gun? Well, a funny story. It all begins with 3 people only signing up for the race when it was open for online registration, which closed a few days ago. Fortunately, they did allow for a day of registration. So it was a mountain bike national champion, a district road race national champion, and me. So given those parameters, I figure that since the road race champion was more of a sprinter, very good sprinter, and that the mountain bike champion, national champion, was more of a time trial guy, I figure that at about 5 laps to go into the race or so, I would attack, hopefully to get away, and hopefully leaving them to look at each other. Now, there's a couple of 70 pluses that are in our category too. Actually, in our race, I should say, but they're being picked separately. Well, lo and behold, we did get another registration, and that was Frank's teammate. And he had the previous day won the district time trial championships. And so he is a former national crit age group crit champion. So you have all these quality people, and you have me. Because Paul signed up today, I had to change my tactics because the tactics I had planned weren't going to work. Looking at my rear camera insert, you'll see Tim Davis pulling the group up to me. Now, Tim is the odds-on favorite for this race. He's got punch and he's got staying power. He doesn't have to solo to get a win. He can just ride these guys' wheels until they get to the finish line, and then he can jump them. Now, because I have these 3 riders with me with their particular strengths, the only thing I can do is what I'm doing is throwing Hail Marys. Basically, I'm going to attack when I can attack, and my only hope that I have is that one of them, just one of them, comes up with me and that we're able to stay away. I'm going to try something a little different for this video. Rather than jump to key points in this race, I'm going to speed up the video instead. So in this next section here, the 2 on the left there, they are the 70 plusers. So they are starting to sneak off. And yeah, I'm not going to go chase them. I'm a 65 pluser. And I don't have all that much energy to waste. And if you've seen my previous videos, you'll understand why. The 70 pluser on the front in the blue kit, I believe he won the road race, the district road race championships for his age group a couple weeks ago. And he did it by just going off the front. And we were again racing 65 pluses and 70 pluses. And when he went off, obviously the 65s didn't react. And then he was able to keep it. And so that was like a 45-mile road race. So this guy's got some legs. Okay, this time I jumped. There was too much lull in the action. So here's the next piece of action coming up. So we've been going for a few laps now. I have a couple of people behind me, and people are sort of getting relaxed. So I figure now that I've got my legs back a little bit from the last attack, I am going again. So again, I am hoping that only one, not everybody, only one comes up with me, and it's a 65 pluser, and that is one of the clean power riders, either Frank or Paul. Both of them have time trial prowess, and so if it was Tim that came up with me, well, those guys would shut it down really quick. I have a pretty nice gap right now, so I don't know what's going on behind me, but I would hope that what's happening is that both Paul and Frank are not doing any work, that they're making Tim do all the work. And I'm certainly hoping that the 70 pluses aren't doing any work, because they don't need to be doing that. All they need to be doing is just riding some wheels right now. So I'm going to stay away for as long as I can. And I am not a time trial person. Again, I promise you I'm going to be working on that during the off season. While we're waiting to see what happens, you'll notice on the course outline in the upper right hand corner that there are really only two 90-degree turns, and they're at the far end of the course, and I'm heading that way now. On the other end that I just left is a big semicircle, which is actually pretty nice. It's not too tight. You can keep a lot of speed through there. So I just passed that was registration. So now I'm heading to where my car is parked and the Velo Kings team is set up. So it's a local team. So they're throwing out a few, keep going, Steve type of things, which is pretty cool. And I'm still out there, and I look back every once in a while, but now I'm just trying to go as hard as I can. But as you can see by the speed in the upper left-hand corner there, I'm really going about 21 miles, and my heart rate is at about 158, where the max is 164. So I am putting out a lot of energy for not a lot of speed, but you got to do what you can. And if I can get one person, I just need that one person, and either Paul or Frank to come up with me. This is a 40-minute race, by the way, and the course is about 0.8 mile long, so a little over a click. As I approach a lap and a half on this breakaway, I can look on the rearview camera and see what's happening behind me, and it looks like everybody's coming up, not just one person. So, good try. I got to rest my legs and then try again and when an opportunity presents itself. As soon as this guy came into my line of sight, I'm thinking, that's 70 plus. Why is he pulling everybody up? In terms of my situation, that was the worst thing that could have happened. While the best thing, as I mentioned before, would have been Tim having to pull us up, and you notice that he is in third position, that the two Clean Power riders are behind him, so they weren't going to help at all. They weren't going to help him at all. He got the right wheels. So whether he initiated it and they went through, I don't know, but that was a total bummer. Almost like a wasted move. So now Tim is going to the back to not necessarily get a better rest, but to have a better view of what's going on. If the others try to jump when we're kind of stretched out like this, he can easily jump on their wheel. While I'm guessing he's not the time trialer type that Frank and Paul are, he can quickly jump on their wheel if he needs to stay protected while they do all the work. On my little breakaway attempts, what I have to watch out for is when I get caught, that these guys don't counterattack me, and then I'm just going to be off the bat. Next piece of action, and this one is a bit of a surprise, Tim Davis actually attacks. So I think what he's hoping for here is what I was hoping for, that one of the riders would go with him. So it's Paul is going up with him, and Paul is actually a combination time trial sprinter kind of guy. So if you're Paul's teammate, Frank, what would you do? Well, in this case, the 70-year-old guy is now trying to bridge up to them. And so Frank just got on his wheel, so that's all he needs to do. So he's not using any extra energy, other than him being a bigger guy behind a smaller guy, and a smaller guy is pulling. Still, I'll take that any day of the week. I can't tell what's going up in the breakaway at this angle, but I'm guessing that Tim is the one. Oops, nope, Tim is now in back, and it's Paul that's doing the pulling. So they're actually working together. If the 70-plus guy was not pulling everyone else up to that breakaway, then it could be that those two would stay away, and then Frank really wouldn't have to do much of anything, and it'd be me that would be trying to go across, and I wouldn't be able to do anything. But they slow down, Frank then counters. So that forces Tim to go and do the work. So you notice that Tim has that jump I talked about. Paul was right on his wheel. Tim jumped, and then Tim automatically got like a bike length between them. Now, Paul did get up there, but you notice where I am. I am way off the back. I remember thinking, this isn't good. And I may have to pull myself out because I'm just going to get lapped, or I'll just stay in and just get lapped. So I just keep at it, and then I start to see that they're kind of fanning out. So that gives me a chance to get up there because they're slowing down a bit. I slowed the action down because this is where I noticed a tactic that I hadn't seen before. I'm sitting behind Paul, who's basically sitting behind Tim. On the far left-hand side at the front, that's where Frank is. Now you have the 70-year-olds coming across over here, so they're not sure what they're going to be doing. But you now have one rider on the left side and you have his teammate on the right side. And so Tim is wondering what he's going to be doing. So since Frank is up there and Frank is starting to put on the power, Tim has got to go chase Frank down, which is going to cause him to use more energy, and Paul's just going to ride his wheel. But when you look up ahead, Frank isn't chasing them. He's behind the 70-year-olds. Now he's got to jump because this guy's getting a little weaker, which may be the reason why the other 70-year-old feels so confident to be able to do what he's doing, because this rider here is more the caliber of me. When you look ahead, you'll see that Tim just is making contact, so he had to use a bunch of energy to do that. Paul, because he doesn't have that same jump as Tim, also had to use energy to get up there. I'm hoping this guy gets up there because I'm pretty tired. And I'm starting to look at my watch a little bit and thinking, how many laps are left on this thing? Am I going to have enough energy to do my race-winning move? Thankfully, that ride in front of me was able to get us up there. So now I'm just going to conserve, look for my opportunities, and then see what the rest of these guys do. I'm keeping my eye on the lap card. So now they're doing the split thing again. We have Frank on the left side and we have Paul on the right. Paul is starting to go. Tim is now going to jump over to him. I let Tim in because it would cost me a lot more energy to try and fight for the wheel. Frank now is in back with the 70-plussers and they're having to use extra energy. But again, the 70-year-old is doing the pulling. It's fine to complain about it after the fact, but during the race, just think of it as a variable that's established that you have to work around. I wish I had stronger legs because this was actually a great place to attack. The brake was just caught and you had people that were off the back, and with me countering like this, but now I'm starting to lose bananas. I'm starting to lose muscle power. So they were on me right away, and pretty much at this point I knew they were on me. So I'm just slowly starting to slow down a bit, and I'm hoping that they come by me. But I think they just kind of, when I slow down, everyone slows down, so then I slow down a little more. In this case, I have to watch out for that big punch that can come, and that'll leave me off the back again trying to time trial to get onto the back of everybody's wheel. I jump forward about half a lap later. I'm starting to lose the punch in my legs. I still need to try and get away from these guys, and I know that the closer to the end that I try to get away, the more of a chance that these guys are not going to let that happen. As we're coming onto the finishing straightaway, you'll notice Frank behind me just left the rear camera. He's going on an attack. So Tim has got to close that. Because I'm starting to weaken, I have to be cognizant of the people in front of me and make sure that I jump when they are jumping, or jump a little before that they're going to jump, so I can have that little bit of a chance to get on there. So Paul has a number of bike lengths between him and the people in front of him. Fortunately, I'm behind him, so while I'm suffering, I'm not suffering as much as I would if I was doing this by myself. So, as before, when people get caught, they slow down. So that gives me a chance. Well, the chance that it gives me the chance to recover as opposed to the chance of getting dropped. As we round these two quick 90s, we have a chance for more shenanigans. So you'll notice that Frank is up on the left. Tim is seeing that Paul is coming up on the right, on the other side of the road. So he's wondering what he needs to do. So he preemptively jumps just in case Paul was going to jump, then he'd have less energy to get up to him. So he's going back and forth. And this is exactly what Clean Power wants to do, but Tim is damn strong, so he's able to react appropriately to whatever is happening. So in this case, he's got on Paul's wheel. I'm now chasing after him just so I can get on there, and the rest are on my wheel. As often the case in today's race, they slow down, and this is actually a great opportunity for me to attack if I had the legs. But I don't have the confidence to be able to do that, so I'm still waiting. I jump forward to 6 laps to go. I figure I have one more move, even though it's more of half a move left in my legs. The 70-plussers get a little bit of a gap because I'm just not chasing them. Then we get an attack from Frank. This forces Tim to chase and Paul to chase behind him. So I'm going to ride these guys the 70-plussers wheels. I figure the 3 at the front will see that they're still all together and then they're going to slow down, which they eventually do. Jumping to the back end of the 5th lap, Clean Power is still doing what they can to get rid of Tim, at least to put him into stress. So Paul on the far end does an attack. Tim gets on his wheel. So now I'm on Frank's wheel, and of course I'm hoping that I stay on his wheel as he pulls me up to the rest of them. and it looks like I'm starting to lose his wheel. I'm now on a 70 pluser's wheel, and the 70 pluser that's behind me, he previously told me that not to get on his wheel because he can die out at any moment, and I know the feeling. I am thinking that what would I do if I was Paul? So I can't keep pulling Tim up because then Tim will beat me. So at a certain point, I'm going to have to slow down here. I'm also thinking that Paul is hoping that Frank is going to counter. And I'm thinking that Tim thinks that Frank is going to counter. I just have to keep my eyes open. So I see that Tim is looking back. He's looking for Frank. And I'm hoping now Frank goes to the left side and that Tim, you see him, he's turning to the left. He's always watching Frank because that gives me an opportunity. And this is where I start to take it. So now they're looking at each other. I'm hoping they're looking at each other, and I'm just going to as hard as I can. I'm getting a bit of a gap. I have no idea what I'm doing now because I'm not looking behind me. I'm just going as hard as I can. We are showing about 4 laps to go. Am I going to be able to stay away from these guys for 4 laps? I seriously doubt it. But again, I'm hoping one of the clean power people comes up to me. And if I had my choice, I would choose Frank to come up with me, because he's not as strong a sprinter as Paul is. And if Paul is riding Tim's wheel, that would cause Tim to use a lot more energy. And I'm further hoping that Paul, at this late stage in the race, will leave the chasing to Tim. There is, of course, that 70 pluser that's chasing everything down lately, but I can't be worried about that right now. So I'm just going. You can see in the back they're starting to chase after me, and that they're getting closer. They're certainly going faster than I am right now. I'm going about 23, but I'm sure they're going like 25, 26, maybe even more. This is my all-in move right now. I'm not going to have much of anything left. As I'm putting this video together, I'm going to be curious to see who is doing the pulling to get up to me. Right now, that looks like a dark jersey in the front, and this so like a dark blue jersey, so I'm thinking it's that 70 pluser as I'm putting this together. If it is him, and no matter what you think, it's all part of the game. It's just all stuff that you have to deal with. There is one guy, though, that's benefiting from the 70 pluser's tactics, and that is Tim. He can just ride wheels. He can ride this guy's wheel. He's just saving his legs, and there's maybe like, I think now 3 laps to go. I know I've been caught. And if there is a counterattack, which there usually hasn't been in this type of situation with me, I'd be going off the back. So I'm starting to go a little slower, and I'm hoping just to get on somebody's wheel and to get some more legs back, because I would love to be able to finish with these guys. If I don't, I have my excuse. I put everything into that move. So now we're crossing into 3 to go. Typically what happens with especially these older races, they're real conservative, especially with the championships, and then they just drop the hammer with 1 or 2 laps to go. Or in this case, with 3 laps to go. This is where I get separated. I still don't want to give up. I'm hoping and thinking that these guys are going to slow a bit, like they're doing now. And they did slow, but then there was an immediate counter, which is a real smart move. And now I'm catching up to the other 70 pluser. At this point, I'd love for him to pull me up, but I know that he's been dying pretty much. So I just went to the front and I'm pulling. And it looks like these guys are slowing up a bit where I can get on their wheel. And there's the moto. So I'm going to get on the moto's wheel. Well, damn those rear view mirrors that they have. He sees me and he starts to pull off. I start to go with him a bit, but then I see the brake lights come on, and so I figure, okay, I just better get back onto that group, which I finally do. It's now 1 lap to go, and I figure, hey, I'm with these guys. Maybe I have another move in me, so we'll see what I got here. So there's an opening there, and I figure now this is the time to go, but all the punches left my legs. And you can see Tim is right on me without him really having to punch. He just accelerated a little bit. I'm just going to keep with the speed, get to the back side of the course, and hope that I can survive the onslaught of power that's going to ensue. Tim, being on my wheel, is not in the optimal position. He's got 2 strong people behind him somewhere that he has to worry about. You can see Paul and Frank, and I don't know what their tactics are, but this would have been a great launching point for Paul to just launch Frank since Frank was in the back. I can't even think about trying to jump to these guys. All the bananas are gone from my legs. On the podium, 4th place. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for being out here, guys. Yeah. Oh, man.
Steve.
Oh,
Nice
man.
race.
Oh man, I'm glad I did what I did. I was just dragging all week last week. I saw the race. I saw the ending from over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I tried to record what I could.
I subscribe to your stuff.
Oh,
man.
thank you.
Yeah, I see it. Good stuff.
Yeah, you know, there was the right tactics, and then with you guys, there was my tactics, which is just Hail Marys, all of them.
The two, you know,
Yeah.
power guys. If it comes down to the last lap, they're done. There's just no way
yeah.
they're going to win that race because I'm going to be behind them.
You're
They're
right.
going to be in front of them.
Well, that's how I took on.
Well, so then,
Frank, the guy-
what happened? I thought you came in third?
No, I won.
You won. Oh, right. No, see? Little guy eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to
We
cut that
came
part out of my
down-
editing when I do it.
We came down the stretch. They were in front, and I was third wheel. If I'm third wheel, I'm going to win a race.
I'm so surprised how I raced. I think I had a previous video, maybe like the last one I did, where I titled it, How Things Can Turn Quickly. I could do the same title for this race. I'm surprised how I raced. You know, we'll see how I feel tomorrow, but I should be fine. So now I'm thinking that I'm going to be able to do the circuit race in a couple weeks. That'll be a good test for me. So tomorrow, if I have the legs, I'll go start climbing again because I haven't been climbing because I needed to work on my flatland stuff. You guys have been watching my videos, you'll know. So anyway, I'm going to go home, rest, do a little home stuff, and then just get ready. I love to race, but I love when I do well. And in this case, even though I got 4th out of 4, got on the podium still, how I raced, I did well.
He's gonna cut it, though.
I hope you enjoyed this and got something out of it. The guy that won the time trial yesterday, he came in 3rd today. I mean, he was in Nepal. He's had AFib and 2 ablations. So if we can do it, you can do it. All right. Comment, like, subscribe. And comment and like, subscribe. Subscribe. The Cycling Greek.